Ahoy there! It's the Executioner, back from within the seven seas. Arr! Now, you're watching Friday Foursome, which really, in all honesty, is a lot of shite. The only foursome the Executioner likes is this foursome. More Jamaican lager beer, witted from the seven seas. Brrr! Watch Friday Foursome or I makes you walk me blank. Avast!
1, 2, 3, 4, hit!
It's the 18th of March 2016, but more importantly, it's a Friday. So grab your drink, grab your crunchy, and sit back and relax, because it's time for a foursome. Oh yes, foursome 14! 14, excuse me. That was a bit of a slurpy one, wasn't it? So, Friday Foursome 13, quick recap. Good showing again, lovely to see. 13 entries, unlucky for some. 13 entries on Friday Foursome 13. Couldn't have made it up, didn't make it up. It actually happened. We have the usual suspects, Electric Adventures, thank you very much Tony for returning. Amiga Old School, JL76 Gaming, Down a Rabbit Hole, Kit 171, TGA Pelusius, welcome back sir. Swifto, welcome back. Acidonia 150, always in there is Gary. Got Geiger Punk, John Gage, and Ian from Bangkok. Or Bangkok Ian, I apologise Ian, I got it around the wrong way there. And I missed out two there because I'm going to highlight them two on this foursome. Two winners this time, for a change. The reason why is because there were so many people got the same number of votes. 11, I think five people got 3 votes. So I couldn't separate them, so I just picked the two with the top votes. And those two, for your favourite developers and publishers, were the returning main master, Mr. Allan Stewart himself, and Steve, 5 numbers, forgotten what they are. Sorry, Steve. The custodian, half of the custodian of the Tubers High Score Challenge and the Tubers High Score World Cup, which unfortunately I'm not a part of because of reasons. Anyway, those two were the winners. So, without further ado, we'll go on to the winner, which is Allan Mainmeister with 5 votes. And he takes us all the way back to going really down the Commodore era, which is really good. Definitely sticking with the 8-bit stuff. Yeah, he talked a lot, but I've cut it down. I've given you the clip notes. So here's Allan Mainmeister with his choices for 4 favourite developers and publishers.
So my first one, I've already mentioned his name. I'm going to go for Lamasoft by Jeff Minter. I mean Jeff, it's now a 2-man band. He's got Gilles as well. He now helps Jeff a lot. I think he's more in the mathematical side of things, but Jeff's been making games since about 1982. He started off on the VIC-20. Well, in fact, he started off, did he start off on the ZX81? I think he did actually. But, you know, he was more famous for the VIC-20, then the Commodore 64, Atari, Spectrum. But he's probably most, that's not proper English, he's best known, I would say, for the Commodore 64, and that is where I got to know Lamasoft games. I wasn't a fan of every single one of them. I mean, there were some real obscure games like Mama Llama, which was famously panned by the Zap crew, Zap 64, and I think Jeff took a bit of a huff. I think they later made up, but the Zap guys didn't get Mama Llama at all. So not every one of Jeff's games was excellent, but yeah, his games are very distinctive. I mean, they always had utterly amazing sound. They always did. Even early stuff like Attack of the Mutant Camels, even stuff like Matrix. I mean, I've got a few. Yeah, I mean, one of Jeff's early games was the Mighty Grid Runner. That came out in the VIC-20. That was the C64 one. Attack of the Mutant Camels. Oops a daisy. That is an absolute classic. Technically wise, it's not that brilliant, but it's just a phenomenal shooter. Laser Zone, can't say I'm really familiar with that one. That's one game I can't say I wouldn't even know what it looks like. You can't forget Hover Bover, classic cutting your grass simulator. and then there was Matrix, which was the sequel to Gridrunner. But yeah, Jeff's games, they were always, I mean, Jeff is he's a gamer first and foremost. He always says that he makes games because how he would want to play. He is a gamer, so he makes games that he wants to play, and if somebody else wants to play them, then that's a nice thing. I mean, he's been making games right through the 8-bits. They've always had, I say, awesome sound. He's absolutely nailed the sound. Graphically, he's always been the first to admit that he's not an artist. So some of his the sprites in his games are fairly basic, but the gameplay was always absolutely on the money, you know. One of the things that Jeff said was when he makes a game, the first thing he does is he gets the control system in place. He'll get the character that you're going to be controlling into the game first, then he builds a game around it. So it's a very, very organic thing. So that's why all of Jeff's games, playability wise, are always top notch. I mean, the standard of games that he puts out, it's just absolutely phenomenal. So that is my first favourite publisher. My next one, I'm going to go for, bloody hell, what the hell are they called? There we go, I've got the game there. It's the mighty Task Set. Now they may not be familiar to a lot of people. Task Set were one of the early 8-bit software companies. Their games were always very unique. They always had really, really good sound, good music. They were almost kind of cartoony. Again, playability of most of them was really good. They always had a lot of comedy built into it. I mean, that one there, Pipeline, I've already mentioned that. Anytime I get a chance to talk about Pipeline, I will talk about it. Pipeline is one of these games where you've got to basically man a pipeline. You're trying to let the water get from A to B, and you've basically got to keep the pipeline clear by shooting baddies and that kind of stuff. But the humour and the playability they put in their games is phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. They had Pipeline 1, they had Pipeline 2, they had Jammin', they had, was it Seaside Special, was it Pesky Painter, Bozo's Night Out. They were quintessentially British, their humour, they really were. But excellent fun. I don't know if they were any good on the Spectrum. I can only talk from experience on the Commodore 64. They put out, well, the fact that they put out two of my favourite games of all time, and I mean any video game, Pipeline 1 and Pipeline 2 are up there in my top 10 of all video games. So that in itself tells me how good they were. Number 3, I am going to go for, it's the Imagine label of the Ocean. Ocean bought over Imagine. Now, everybody's heard the story about Ocean Software. Not Ocean Software, Imagine Software. They were one of the first companies to realise there was money to be made in the 8-bit era. So they were basically punting out all these absolutely shite games, and they were selling. And then famously they were paying all their programmers mega bucks. They were driving about in Ferraris. I mean, the famous story, and it is actually being confirmed as being true, Eugene Evans, who famously appears as Eugene's Lair in Manic Miner. He was a young programmer, I think he was only 16, 17 years old, and he programmed a few games. He famously was bought, I think it was either a Porsche or a Ferrari, and he couldn't even drive. But Imagine, they lived the dream, you know. They were spending money without, you know, they were spending more money than there was actually coming into the company, and they famously went into receivership on the programme, which, so, bloody hell, God, my memory's really feeling tonight. Commercial Break, yeah, go to YouTube and Google it or type it in, Commercial Breaks. It was a programme made by the BBC, and it famously charts the downfall of Imagine. But Ocean very cleverly bought the label, the Imagine label, and what they did was they used it to punt out, it was pretty much all the Konami games, the arcade Konami games. Now I've only got one of them, there it's there, I've only got one. Oh, and I've got two actually, hang on a second. Imagine, they published Konami games under the Imagine banner. Now, again, I can only really speak from experience of the Commodore 64, but virtually all their conversions were just phenomenal. I mean, to my mind, they were probably the best arcade conversions of any software company. I mean, Hyper Sports on the C64 is just sublime, absolutely on the money. It really looks like the arcade one. It sounds like it. The sound, I mean, it was what do you call him, Martin Galway, who did all the sound in the games, and he is probably my favourite musician. You know, Rob Hubbard, he's there and thereabouts, but Martin Galway was absolutely blistering form for Imagine. So you had Hyper Sports, which is awesome. Year Kung Fu, to my mind, the C64 has probably got the best 8-bit version. I did do an arcade perfect my arse of Year Kung Fu. Brilliant game. What other games did they put out? Greenberry, again, a phenomenal conversion on the C64. Comic Bakery, it's one of these games. It's a bit of a Marmite game. It's actually quite good fun. I don't think it reviewed that well, but again, it's a really good game to play. Then there's one of the games, Mikey, again another Konami game, and it was one of these games. It's one of the games. If you happen to have Mikey, the original Mikey on that, and you want to sell it to me, give me a shout and I'll give you 20 quid for it. But yeah, every single Imagine game on the Commodore 64 absolutely rocked. It was as good an arcade conversion as you could ever hope for. So that is my third best, not my third best, that's my third favourite publisher. And the last one, I would have to go for Epix. Now, Epix were an American company, obviously putting out software in America. Then when US Gold sprung up, they realised that there was an awful lot of really good software out there in America land, so they decided to import it across under the US Gold banner. Now Epix they were famous for all the summer games. You had, their first one was Summer Games 2, Winter Games, World Games, California Games. Now the graphics and the sound was just unbelievable. I mean, have a look at World Games, have a look at not World Games, have a look at Summer Games 2, and have a look at like the long jump, or the triple jump I think it is. The graphics are just incredible. I mean, it's probably I would say it's the most impressive animation on any 8-bit machine that I've ever seen. I mean, there was other companies like, in fact Epix, yeah, they also made, I was going to say Impossible Mission, Epix made Impossible Mission, Mish Money Penny. They made Impossible Mission, and again that had phenomenal graphics and sound. So yeah, again, they were just at the very, very top of their game. I mean, they were a phenomenal company. I don't think they put out a bad game, Epix. I loved all of them. I never really got into California games because I think I'd moved on to, I think I was on an Atari ST at that point. But yeah, they did port all their sort of World Games series onto other computers. I think they were out in the Spectrum. They were definitely out in the Amiga, Atari ST. They were never as good. To my mind, the best platform for all of the Epix games was the Commodore 64. They just knew how to get the very, very best graphically and audibly out of this machine. It was phenomenal. So that is it, guys.
You know what? Whenever someone picks Llamasoft and speaks about Llamasoft, I have a fondness for them, but for some reason, for some unfathomable reason, I cannot remember ever playing a game by them. I know they were there, and I know they were important, I know Jeff was important. I've even said hello to him. Forgetting whether he said hi back. He could have, I'm not sure. But I don't recall ever playing a game back then, at least. I have rectified that now. But everyone speaks highly of Llamasoft, and they did come up a couple of times with a few people. I think Geigerpunk spoke of Llamasoft as well. Task Set. Now, you've thrown a curveball at me there, Alan. I'd never heard of Task Set before you mentioned them. And I actually had to Google them, this one. First time I've ever actually Googled an answer. And I remember the pipe game you speak about. What was it called? Pipe, line, I voted it down because I couldn't remember it. Super Pipeline 2, because it did come out on the Amstrad and I didn't play it. So I'm going to have to download it, I think, and have a go, because you do speak highly of it. But yeah, I'm sorry, Alan. You've educated me, because I didn't know about them. Didn't know at all. I did know about Imagine. Imagine what a world would be like without Imagine. Yeah, they were prevalent down in the 80s and 90s, early 90s at least. Obviously with the story associated with Ocean. And they did so many stuff, and I played so many budget games from Imagine. And many of the ones like Alan mentioned, Yaya Kung Fu and their arcade conversion of Green Beret. And many... Can't go wrong with a bit of Imagine stuff. Some of it was, like Alan said, utter shit, but most of it was pretty much gold, unlike US gold, which no one picked. I don't think anyone picked US gold in this whole thing, which maybe someone did. I could be wrong there. And finally he spoke of Epics, or how the hell you want to pronounce it. They did all the sports collection games, and they had their hand in a few other things, and I think they were involved with Palace Software as well at one point. Yeah, I had summer games and winter games and all them for the Amstrad. But yeah, the main one that I remember from Epics, well, two of them, was California Games, certainly on the Master System and the Amstrad. Loved it on the Master System. It was my favourite game on the Master System for that time. And the other one was... they were quite important in a way, because they made the exclusive game for the GX4000, Epic's World of Sports. So... yeah, nicely presented game, unfortunately extremely short and small with only 4 events. But, you know, at least they got their name down on that. They did bring an exclusive out for the GX4000. So thank you, Alan, for that. Excuse me. I've just got back from work and a bit lungs were a bit... yeah. Apologies. Right. And we go on to... the second place, runner-up or joint first, or whatever the hell you want to say. Steve, with 4 votes, he garnered 4 votes. And, yeah, Steve, take it away.
Well, number 1 I'll say is... it's going to be no shock to anyone, I don't think, when I say Sega. So the stuff I've done or was involved in back in the day, do you know what I mean, with the Sonic series, earlier Alex Shinobi, Space Area... Wonder Boy, or I don't know, they didn't really develop Wonder Boy and that, but it was... when I think Sega, I think Wonder Boy. Do you know what I mean? And obviously Wonder Boy Monster, my favourite game of all time. I think it was... but I think with Weststone and Escape. Yeah, I think if I'm right in thinking Weststone and Sega owned the rights to Wonder Boy, but Escape owned the actual game then, if you know what I mean. But Sega and Weststone owned Wonder Boy, if you know what I mean. So that's how when it went to Nintendo, it became Adventure Island, and Master Higgins. So there you go. Yeah, so don't forget, anyone would be shocked to hear me say Sega today. Anyone who grew up back in the day, during the 80s, 90s, no Sega, Golden Axe, do you know what I mean? What? There's so many awesome Sega games. Outrun. Do you mean, I'm trying to think more now, but... oh, anyway, there's loads of them. Right, next up now, I'm going to go one modern-ish one. I'm not sure how long they've been around, but Epic Games. Love Epic Games. Like I said, my Gears of War is my favourite modern series. Closely followed by Dead Space, but Dead Space 3 wasn't bad, but yeah, so Epic Games. Like I said, he was involved with Bulletstorm as well. Now I think people who can fly done more, so I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't come head under me, but yeah, Epic Games. I mean, he made the Gears of War series, I mean Bulletstorm, which I hope they can do a sequel to that, because that's an awesome game that is. Yep, so we go Epic Games. Now, sorry, next up we got Tecmo. I love Tecmo. One of my favourite football game ever is Tecmo World Cup 90. Absolutely loved love that game. I play through it every now and again and still complete it. I think I know it's called, I've got on with it, Koei Tecmo games now, I think, but back in the day, like I said, it was just Tecmo. And like I said, if you've never played any Tecmo games, I just highly recommend you buy this. Because you've got Rygar, Bomb Jack. Rygar is one of my favourite arcade games ever. Like I said, Tecmo Bowl, Plerios, Star Force, Solomon's Key. Like I said, Tecmo. I think I would have put that in if it was just for Bomb Jack and for Rygar anyway. Like I said, I wouldn't say my number one favourite yet. Well, probably not too hard to work out. Yeah, like I said, there's a couple of honourable mentions. You've got like Konami Konami back in the day was a bomb when I think of the Simpsons games, even Turtles games, just class. Didn't Konami do Sunset Riders as well? Sure they did, but anyway. Yeah, I tell you what, IREM as well was another good one. I said you had Kung Fu Master, Vigilante, R-Type. There's just so many great companies, like developers and publishers back in the day. Obviously got Rockstar now, Jimmy Sosa, but anyway, right, sorry. The top four be obviously Sega, Epic Games, Tecmo, and the last one up is not what they are now, but what they was back then. That's Capcom. Like I said, honestly, you walked into any arcade back in the day and it was 99.9% chance you was going to be, if you got addicted to a game, it was going to be a Capcom game. Like I said, when you think of Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, Street Fighter, do you mean there's one, and I absolutely love it. I think it was the first Capcom game I ever played, and that was Speed Rumbler. I think it's Crash and something is called in other regions, I think, but over here it was Speed Rumbler. And great little, like I said, like in the car base, you go around shooting and get out of the car when your car's going to explode. It's an absolute brilliant game, Speed Rumbler is. Yeah, like I said, only got to say the games on you, do you know what I mean, to realise what Capcom was. 1942, Dawn of Commando, Final Fight, Forgotten Worlds, Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, Gunsmoke, Mercs, I mean, Street Fighter, you know what I mean, Trojan. There's just so many awesome Capcom games back in the day. That shame they're not the same company that they was, but then again it's all about profit now, isn't it? Anyway, there you go, Chris, that's my VR, but hopefully it's in time. Sorry I look like shit, but well, that can't be up no matter what the fucking lighting situation is.
So Steve there picks Sega. Now Sega did get mentioned a lot. Obviously Kit 171 did sing the plaudits of Sega and a few others too. Why not indeed. Sega for me were so associated with the arcades because I didn't have a Sega machine back in the day. So it was all Shinobi, Golden Axe, Outrun and Sega Rally later on as well, and things like that. Virtua Racing and Virtua Fighter all down the line, of course. So no surprise there, and you can't rule Sega out anytime, can you? Because they have made some classic games, and of course they've still got Sonic roaming around now. Not quite in the same high quality shoes that he was back then, but they're still going, just about. Just hanging on, Sega, aren't they? Now, Epic Games he mentions, and I epically don't know nothing about them. They're to do with the Gears of War, like Steve says. And I can't really say anything more about them because I don't think I've ever played an Epic Games game. So, but good choice if you like their stuff. I was going to get confused with Epics, you know, yeah, but they're spelt in completely different ways. The Epics is spelt much cooler. Any word with an X in it and a Y is cooler, and starts with a vowel as well. Tecmo, Bomb Jack, and yeah, Tecmo did a lot of arcades, of course, and yeah, and a lot of conversions came to the Amstrad and the 8-bits. So yeah, I didn't think of Tecmo. One of them names one of them sort of firms that sort of forget Tecmo are, along with I always forget Namco for some reason. I shouldn't really, but I forget them. Tecmo is up there. Tangen is another one I always forget, and all them kind of houses in that kind of bracket. But good pick, good pick. And finally, I think my favourite pick. I would have picked this for myself if I'd have actually thought about it, but you know, I was keeping it in the same sort of area. Capcom. Like Steve says, what was Capcom, not what they are now, and yeah, I mean, just endless streams of classics from Capcom. Apart from the Street Fighter series, you've got Resident Evil, you've got Devil May Cry, Final Fight, the list, endless amount of lovely, brilliant shooters and beat 'em ups. UN Squadron in particular was one of my absolute you know, Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, UN Squadron, I loved UN Squadron. I think it was one of their finest shooters, and the Super Nintendo version is probably the most superior version of it. It's brilliant on the Amstrad as well, actually, for a shooter. It was just an excellent game. Area 88, sometimes known as, of course. But yeah, Capcom, just a list of, you know, legends down your arm, if you want. Mercs and Commando and all that kind of stuff. And fantastic. So yeah, brilliant stuff there from Steve. Congratulations, you guys, for winning Friday Foursome 13. Now we're going to move on to 14. Friday Foursome 14. Now, I am quenching my thirst here. And this is going to be like an open tag kind of thing. This is a suggested question from Mr. Friday Foursome himself, JL76 Gaming. And he suggested this question, and I thought that is a brilliant question, and I'm going to use that. So this will be probably the third suggested question I've used for the Friday Foursome. And like I said, this is more of an open tag thing, and kind of use it as a showcase to promote your channel. I think this is probably the best way to think about this one. Four, and you've got to go back and look in your channel library here, in your video library. What are your 4 favourite videos that you have made? It's as simple as that. And there could be any reasons why they're your favourites. You think you produced them the best? You think you speak well? Do you think you played the game the best? Do you think the production value is the best? How well they've done on views? How well they've done on comments? Whatever your criteria for deciding what your favourites are, go for it. But there only has to be 4. You know, it's a foursome, so there's always 4. Foursome on 14. 14 foursome. Right. I always do that, don't I? I don't know what. Anyway. So my 4 favourite at the moment. I mean, this is always subject to change because you're always updating. You know, you're changing videos. You're putting more videos on. Changing. I don't mean changing them, are you? You're putting more on, should I say? Always adding to the pile of stuff that you call content, but we call content. I don't know. But if you, as long as you're happy with it, who the fuck cares? That's what I always say. My 4 favourite, we'll go straight to the top of the pile. My favourite one I've ever done, and it's going to be no surprise to a lot of people. It's my highest hit, it's my highest rated. I enjoyed it, making it immensely. I loved discussion about it when I posted it up, and it's the 464 project. It's just been a success for me, and it rewarded the effort that I put into making it. I wanted to make something epic like that, and I pulled it off. You know, and it worked, and people do, they like it, and they respond to it, and that made me feel, it filled me up in here that I really do like that. So therefore, it's my favourite video that I've made, the 464 project, and the 464 project part 2, which will be coming soon this year. Hopefully that will match it. Here's hoping. Sorry about that, my camera just died. Anyway, my second favourite video is the interview that I did with the Oliver twins. I did that, played Blackpool last year in 2015. It was just an honour doing that. I was nervous as hell, but after we had a few technical glitches with the audio and everything, and what camera we were going to use, but it all turned out for the good in the end. And I think, as much as I would have liked to have asked more questions and fleshed out the interview a little bit more, for what I did from the first interview with real publishers, real developers, should I say, I was happy with it. So I'm very proud of it, and the fact that it's there. All these videos I'm going to leave in the description box, of course, and the links to the winners, of course. I'm not going to leave that burp in there. Oh, so rude, wasn't it? Anyway, my third favourite video of mine is the collab that I did with Mr. Larry Bundy Jr., Guru Larry, on the 25th, should I say, anniversary of the GX1000. The fact that I got to do a collab with Larry was just mind-blowing. The guy is a real gentleman, and it was the biggest YouTuber in terms of audience that he has, and the impetus that he has in the community. Sorry. It was great doing it, and I think we had a good chemistry and it worked really well. We bounced off each other well, and it's a really enjoyable watch. Even I know it sounds like I'm blowing my own trumpet there, but I'm going to say that because I think it really is, and I think a lot of people have said that as well. So really happy I did that. It's one of my all-time highlights. I think probably will keep to be one of my highlights on my channel. That, and hopefully in the future, touch wood. There it is on my head. I can do another collab with Larry, because it was just brilliant. It was a great experience, and I just enjoy seeing that video continue to grow and to continue to get views and comments. It's still going strong. And finally, my fourth favourite video is the big first collab that I did with loads of people. It was such a logistical nightmare to do this, but I thought I had to do it. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to get so many people involved in this, and I remember emailing and asking so many people, could you do this, could you do that, being really nice about it. So many people were brilliant with it. They did so much effort, they put so much effort into it, and the fact that I ended up only using like 5-second clips of what they did, it kind of made me feel guilty. And that was my Jingle Bells Christmas special that I did at the end of 2014. It was a blast. It was a nightmare to edit, but it was a blast watching all the footage that everyone had so generously done. I was laughing my tits off at Evo Haler and Infected Flinch, getting the lines wrong and swearing at the camera. It was and Valter as well. It was hilarious, and it made me appreciate them so much more after that. It was like, they've done this for me, and it's so nice that they've done. They didn't need to do that. I asked them and they did it, and it's all a bit of fun, and it came out so well at the end. So it's something that hopefully stands up to the test of time as well. It's a good old sing-along joke kind of thing. So yeah, those are my 4 favourite videos on my channel. What are your 4 favourite videos on your channel? No one else's channel, your channel. The stuff you've made, your content. Pick 4, showcase them. Obviously don't show the whole videos, that would be ridiculous, but talk about them. Tell everyone why them 4 are your favourite videos on your channel. And I think this question has the potential to really, really go far. So thank you again, John, for suggesting it. It's a brilliant question, and I hope everyone enjoys Friday Foursome 14. I'm out of here now because the camera's bleeping at me. I think it's about to die again. It's doing that, saying Nova bug, I've had enough, I'm gonna die. So I will bid you a farewell. Again, all the stuff with the Foursome, links all in the description box. All the information is there. Go back and watch me talking again if you want. Everything will be, all your videos will be put into my Facebook as always, posted up. Let me know when you make them though. You've got to do that. Post them in the comment box underneath, or send me a PM. Just communicate with me in any way to tell me that you've done a Foursome. I've done a Foursome, Novabug. Show me the Foursome. Something like that. You know what I mean. I'm always getting my words wrong. I'm going to finish my coffee. And I'll say, Friday Foursome, out.